Hi, I'm Chin Wei, the Deputy Director General of Education overseeing curriculum in the Ministry of Education. I used to teach in the secondary school and led a secondary school as a principal before. Now I'm in the Ministry headquarters overseeing curriculum development. I'm here to answer your top questions on PSLE. Why change the PSLE scoring system? Now, to put it simply, it is part of a series of efforts that MOE has introduced in the recent years to reduce overemphasis on exam grades. Some of you will recall that we have introduced a series of measures like removing some of the school-based assessment, introduced and broadened the DSA, the direct school admission, and also remove the release of top scorers and the maximum and minimum PSLE results on the results slip to help parents and students refocus their energy on the value of learning and growth rather than on the PSLE result itself. And ultimately, PSLE is a placement examination to decide the curriculum in the secondary school that best match the current ability of the child. The child at the start of whether P5 or P6 still have 1 to 2 years of growth ahead of them. They will improve and continue to gain stronger mastery of the curriculum. So don't place undue emphasis on the PSLE at so early a stage of their learning. Let them enjoy the learning and discover their strengths and interests, and let the results come naturally of their efforts and their hard work. Is AL and T-score the same? No, they are not. There are some important differences between the two scoring systems. The T-score system currently is quite finely differentiating students' performance. So you have 200 over possible T-score that a child can obtain at the end of PSLE. So we're going to move to a new achievement level system to replace the current T-score system. This AL system is less differentiated so that students and parents can learn to place more emphasis on the growth and development of the student at that primary school stage. Another important difference between the T-score and the AL is that T-score is norm-reference, but AL is standard reference. This means that with the T-score system, the child's result is actually dependent also on how his peers perform at PSLE. So a child who attains a particular score may end up with a low T-score if his friends all achieve higher scores. But in the AL system, the child's score and the achievement level associated with it is determined just by his own performance, regardless of how his peers do at PSLE. How can the AL system tell me how well my kid is doing? Now, the AL system illustrates a certain level of mastery of the curriculum that the child is learning. So by dividing the performance into 8 achievement levels, you can tell whether the child eventually, when he or she progresses to secondary school, is capable of handling that subject at a particular level. And so if you want to look for final improvements in his or her learning, then you may have also to look at his raw scores, right? The scores that determine the achievement levels. But as I said before, don't focus just on the results, because a lot of the value of learning can be also reflected in other aspects of his or her growth. I have a youngest child who has just completed the PSLE a couple of months ago. My wife and I are more concerned with his effort and his attitude than his results, because if he has put in his best efforts, we will all be proud of his results, whatever it may be. So I hope as parents we understand that what determines a child's worth is not the PSLE results per se, but the attitude he has in learning and the effort he places in doing his best. Next question is, why are the AL bands narrower at the top? Now, this is a question we have heard quite often from parents. Many of our primary 6 students actually do well at PSLE. About half of the P6 students actually end up scoring at 75 points or higher in their respective subject as PSLE. Now, this means that about half of the cohort actually score in the top 1/4 of the mark range, right? The mark range being from 0 to 100. Half of them score actually 75 or better. We have to introduce 4 achievement levels within that quite narrow mark range, so that we avoid too many balloting cases and too much bunching of results.